don't feel that I have any new pieces of advice or wisdom I can share with you to wish you good luck. Instead, I wish for you to continue being you. And I wish for you to continue to smile and continue to show the heart you have inside you. I know you will do well in the future. Congratulations, class of 2020. Eisenhower High School loves you.
Greetings, Eisenhower family, staff, friends, Rialto Unified School Board members, viewing audience, and the class of 2020. I'm Steve Paez, the proud ASB president of Eisenhower High School. First off, I want to thank my amazing mom, Anna, and my hardworking dad, Israel, because they worked hard to give me everything I needed to be here today. I would also like to thank my grandma, Gloria, who I always joke around with. Every time I see her, I say, Abuela, and she yells back, Abuelo. Thank you to all my brothers, Bernardo, Israel, Eric, and Jacob. We often fight and argue, but we still love each other. A big thanks to my brother Eric, who paved the way for me. He is currently deployed somewhere in the Middle East, and I'm thankful for his guidance and his willingness to protect our country. I would also like to thank all my cousins, Luis, Sahari, Travis, Five, Brian, Alex, Bob, Omar, and all my friends, especially my party peeps and the boys. Thank you to the staff members who encouraged me and uplifted me regularly. Ms. Smalls, Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson, Mr. Cortez, Q, Mr. Berry, Ms. Scott. Thank you to Mr. Polito for saying the most random and funny things. Lastly, I want to thank HP, who is not only our ASB advisor, but my second mom and my mentor, who played a big part in the person I am today. And most importantly, taught me to be selfless, because leadership starts with you, but it's not about you. I will never forget our senior sunrise. We arrived early, got our burritos, played some games, left our handprints on the poster, hung out for the first time as a class. No one would have guessed that that morning would end with a visit from the paramedics. I'm so glad everyone is safe, and I am thankful for my friends who demonstrated courage during the incident. This will always last in my memory as the best and scariest day I spent at Eisenhower. This event describes the class of 2020. We are strong, brave, and always have each other's back. I'm so glad to have the privilege of watching and celebrating our success, from game-winning shots and to exciting dances, and even hosting our first ever movie night in the quad. Even though the coronavirus ended our year sooner than we planned, we have managed to show our community that the class of 2020 would continue to strive for perfection. College acceptances, large scholarships, and great job opportunities are among many of the great accomplishments that we now are facing. I encourage you to continue to strive for perfection in your future. Remember, always the lessons you learned at Eisenhower High School, and that you are capable. Thank you for sharing some of the greatest memories. Good luck in the future, and remember, once an eagle, always an eagle. And in order to be part of the mob, you must have integrity, kindness, eagerness to learn, motivation, ownership, and you must be respectful. Thank you, and congratulations to the senior class of 2020.
Good evening. Tonight is Wednesday, July 15th, 2020, and this meeting of the Rialto Board of Education is being called to order at 6:32 p.m. We're going to start with open session, and the first item is comments on closed session agenda item. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the closed session agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Do we have any, Dr. Avila?
We have none, President O'Kelly.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to move into closed session?
So moved.
Hello?
Second, Montes.
Who made the motion?
Ayala.
Ayala and Montes was the second. Okay. And as provided by law, the following are the items for discussion and consideration at the closed session of the board meeting. First one is public employee employment, discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment of employees, Government Code Section 54957. The second item is student expulsions, reinstatements, expulsion enrollments. And the third item is conference with labor negotiators, agencies designated representatives, Quatamak Avila, EDD, Superintendent, Rhea MacGyver-Gibbs, EDD, Lead Personnel Agent, Personnel Services, and Rhonda Kramer, Lead Personnel Agent, Personnel Services. Employee organizations are California School Employees Association, Chapter 203, CSCA, Rialto Education Association, REA, and Communication Workers of America, CWA. So now we're going to take a vote to move into closed session. Vote by board members. Nancy O'Kelly, aye. Dina Walker?
Aye.
Dina? Okay. Joseph
Aye.
Martinez?
Martinez, aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
All right. So we are now in closed session.
Congratulations, class of 2020. My name is Frank Camacho, proud principal of Eisenhower High School. Your determination and dedication to being responsible for your education through this global pandemic exemplifies the type of character and qualities that make us proud of you. Graduation always stirs up a range of emotion in us, and this year I noticed a deep sense of remembrance surrounding Eisenhower High School. I truly believe this is because of the unique personalities in front of me. The class is full of incredible, mature, young individuals. You came into this world post 9/11, and now are graduating feeling the impact of COVID-19. More than any other class, you have learned to deal with adversity and smile. This quality will help you continue to move past obstacles and will be a constant reassurance to those around you. Your positive mindset will serve as a healthy reminder of the benefits smiling has to offer you and those around you, such as boosting your immune system and relieving stress. My advice to you is, even if you don't feel like it, smile, because it will immediately improve your mood. You spin joy with a good smile. You release stress because smiling releases endorphins. Smile through the good and bad. Your smiles today will serve as a reminder of your accomplishments and will encourage those that look up to you as role models. You will be missed because of the incredible people you are. The obstacles you have endured these past few months have been life-changing for all of us. I want everyone in this forum to know what a remarkable group of people we have graduating this year. You all are our future and will make a difference in creating a better world. When I asked the staff about this graduating class, I saw a pattern quickly emerge that mirrored my own thoughts of the class of 2020. So many of the teachers remarked about these students' authentic commitment to academics, the students' willingness to teach and help others, and a desire to make the best of themselves. Teachers remarked about these graduates' sweet spirit and childlike silliness. In the beginning of the year, the staff expressed how special this class was and what a great year it would be. Evident in this class, we have eagles who demonstrate grit, integrity, humbleness, and kindness. From deep within our hearts, I want you to know how much we adore you and value our time with you. Every year, I like to extend a wish of bestow a piece of advice on the graduating class. With the class of 2020, I don't feel that I have any new pieces of advice or wisdom I can share with you to wish you good luck. Instead, I wish for you to continue being you, and I wish for you to continue to smile and continue to show the heart you have inside you. I know you will do well in the future. Congratulations, class of 2020. Eisenhower High School loves you.
Greetings, Eisenhower family, staff, friends, Rialto Unified School Board members, viewing audience, and the class of 2020. I'm Steve Paez, the proud ASB president of Eisenhower High School. First off, I want to thank my amazing mom, Anna, and my hardworking dad, Israel, because they worked hard to give me everything I needed to be here today. I would also like to thank my grandma, Gloria, who I always joke around with. Every time I see her, I say, Abuela, and she yells back, Abuelo. Thank you to all my brothers, Bernardo, Israel, Eric, and Jacob. We often fight and argue, but we still love each other. A big thanks to my brother Eric, who paved the way for me. He is currently deployed somewhere in the Middle East, and I'm thankful for his guidance and his willingness to protect our country. I would also like to thank all my cousins, Luis, Sahari, Travis, Five, Brian, Alex, Bob, Omar, and all my friends, especially my party peeps and the boys. Thank you to the staff members who encouraged me and uplifted me regularly. Ms. Smalls, Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson, Mr. Cortez, Q, Mr. Berry, Ms. Scott. Thank you to Mr. Polito for saying the most random and funny things. Lastly, I want to thank HP, who is not only our ASB advisor, but my second mom and my mentor, who played a big part in the person I am today. And most importantly, taught me to be selfless, because leadership starts with you, but it's not about you. I will never forget our senior sunrise. We arrived early, got our burritos, played some games, left our handprints on the poster, hung out for the first time as a class. No one would have guessed that that morning would end with a visit from the paramedics. I'm so glad everyone is safe, and I am thankful for my friends who demonstrated courage during the incident. This will always last in my memory as the best and scariest day I spent at Eisenhower. This event describes the class of 2020. We are strong, brave, and always have each other's back. I'm so glad to have the privilege of watching and celebrating our success, from game-winning shots and to exciting dances, and even hosting our first ever movie night in the quad. Even though the coronavirus ended our year sooner than we planned, we have managed to show our community that the class of 2020 would continue to strive for perfection. College acceptances, large scholarships, and great job opportunities are among many of the great accomplishments that we now are facing. I encourage you to continue to strive for perfection in your future. Remember, always the lessons you learned at Eisenhower High School, and that you are capable. Thank you for sharing some of the greatest memories. Good luck in the future, and remember, once an eagle, always an eagle. And in order to be part of the mob, you must have integrity, kindness, eagerness to learn, motivation, ownership, and you must be respectful. Thank you, and congratulations to the senior class of 2020.
Greetings, parents, friends, staff, teachers, and graduating class of 2020. My name is Ha Viet Trinh, Valedictorian. Today, we celebrate our victories, achievements, and greatness. In my 4 years here at Eisenhower, I have learned the importance of achieving as well as failing. Failing is like working out. You tried, you broke down, but you grew stronger each time. Keep trying until you reach your dream body, your ideal image, or even the feeling of improved strength. Even then, you don't stop trying, because you want to maintain your dream. Point is, don't be afraid to break or tear. It is an essential part of your growth. Through exercise, our muscles tear and break down, and then rebuild themselves to become stronger than before. There will be moments in our lives that may tear us down, but it is important to remember that we are like our muscles, and we will become stronger in the end. I would like to take a moment to give my gratitude to all the people that have supported me throughout the years. I thank my mother and father for their unconditional support and love. I thank all my friends for having my back in times of need. A special shout out to Valedictorian Dina Vasquez for being my best friend, as well as my competition. You deserve this title more than I do. I thank all my teachers. It has been a pleasure learning from you. I thank my coaches and teammates for sharing what it means to be part of a team. I thank the lunch ladies, staff, and administrators for keeping our school successful and thriving. For all the good and bad experiences, I am grateful for the memories built here at Eisenhower. I hope all of you have made wonderful memories with your friends, classmates, teachers, mentors, coaches, and teams. I just want to point out that valedictorian is nothing but a title to me, because I know everyone here has the potential to achieve the same thing. Each and every one of you have creative, brilliant, unique minds. With that, I encourage the class of 2020 to share your brilliance with the world. And once again, I encourage all to embrace your mistakes in order to achieve your greatest potential. And as Bruce Lee once said, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. On a final note, please stay safe, maintain good hygiene, and keep moving forward. Thank you.
As members of the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education, it is with a great deal of pleasure that we accept the graduating class of 2020.
We do hereby certify that these students have met all of the course requirements as set forth by the Board of Education and the State of California. Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Congratulations, class of 2020. My name is Frank Camacho, proud principal of Eisenhower High School. Your determination and dedication to being responsible for your education through this global pandemic exemplifies the type of character and qualities that make us proud of you. Graduation always stirs up a range of emotion in us, and this year I noticed a deep sense of remembrance surrounding Eisenhower High School. I truly believe this is because of the unique personalities in front of me. The class is full of incredible, mature, young individuals. You came into this world post 9/11, and now are graduating feeling the impact of COVID-19. More than any other class, you have learned to deal with adversity and smile. This quality will help you continue to move past obstacles and will be a constant reassurance to those around you. Your positive mindset will serve as a healthy reminder of the benefits smiling has to offer you and those around you, such as boosting your immune system and relieving stress. My advice to you is, even if you don't feel like it, smile, because it will immediately improve your mood. You spin joy with a good smile. You release stress because smiling releases endorphins. Smile through the good and bad. Your smiles today will serve as a reminder of your accomplishments and will encourage those that look up to you as role models. You will be missed because of the incredible people you are. The obstacles you have endured these past few months have been life-changing for all of us. I want everyone in this forum to know what a remarkable group of people we have graduating this year. You all are our future and will make a difference in creating a better world. When I asked the staff about this graduating class, I saw a pattern quickly emerge that mirrored my own thoughts of the class of 2020. So many of the teachers remarked about these students' authentic commitment to academics, the students' willingness to teach and help others, and a desire to make the best of themselves. Teachers remarked about these graduates' sweet spirit and childlike silliness. In the beginning of the year, the staff expressed how special this class was and what a great year it would be. Evident in this class, we have eagles who demonstrate grit, integrity, humbleness, and kindness. From deep within our hearts, I want you to know how much we adore you and value our time with you. Every year, I like to extend a wish of bestow a piece of advice on the graduating class. With the class of 2020, I don't feel that I have any new pieces of advice or wisdom I can share with you to wish you good luck. Instead, I wish for you to continue being you, and I wish for you to continue to smile and continue to show the heart you have inside you. I know you will do well in the future. Congratulations, class of 2020. Eisenhower High School loves you.
Greetings, Eisenhower family, staff, friends, Rialto Unified School Board members, viewing audience, and the class of 2020. I'm Steve Paez, the proud ASB president of Eisenhower High School. First off, I want to thank my amazing mom, Anna, and my hardworking dad, Israel, because they worked hard to give me everything I needed to be here today. I would also like to thank my grandma, Gloria, who I always joke around with. Every time I see her, I say, Abuela, and she yells back, Abuelo. Thank you to all my brothers, Bernardo, Israel, Eric, and Jacob. We often fight and argue, but we still love each other. A big thanks to my brother Eric, who paved the way for me. He is currently deployed somewhere in the Middle East, and I'm thankful for his guidance and his willingness to protect our country. I would also like to thank all my cousins, Luis, Sahari, Travis, Five, Brian, Alex, Bob, Omar, and all my friends, especially my party peeps and the boys. Thank you to the staff members who encouraged me and uplifted me regularly. Ms. Smalls, Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson, Mr. Cortez, Q, Mr. Berry, Ms. Scott. Thank you to Mr. Polito for saying the most random and funny things. Lastly, I want to thank HP, who is not only our ASB advisor, but my second mom and my mentor, who played a big part in the person I am today. And most importantly, taught me to be selfless, because leadership starts with you, but it's not about you. I will never forget our senior sunrise. We arrived early, got our burritos, played some games, left our handprints on the poster, hung out for the first time as a class. No one would have guessed that that morning would end with a visit from the paramedics. I'm so glad everyone is safe, and I am thankful for my friends who demonstrated courage during the incident. This will always last in my memory as the best and scariest day I spent at Eisenhower. This event describes the class of 2020. We are strong, brave, and always have each other's back. I'm so glad to have the privilege of watching and celebrating our success, from game-winning shots and to exciting dances, and even hosting our first ever movie night in the quad. Even though the coronavirus ended our year sooner than we planned, we have managed to show our community that the class of 2020 would continue to strive for perfection. College acceptances, large scholarships, and great job opportunities are among many of the great accomplishments that we now are facing. I encourage you to continue to strive for perfection in your future. Remember, always the lessons you learned at Eisenhower High School, and that you are capable. Thank you for sharing some of the greatest memories. Good luck in the future, and remember, once an eagle, always an eagle. And in order to be part of the mob, you must have integrity, kindness, eagerness to learn, motivation, ownership, and you must be respectful. Thank you, and congratulations to the senior class of 2020.
Greetings, parents, friends, staff, teachers, and graduating class of 2020. My name is Ha Viet Trinh, Valedictorian. Today, we celebrate our victories, achievements, and greatness. In my 4 years here at Eisenhower, I have learned the importance of achieving as well as failing. Failing is like working out. You tried, you broke down, but you grew stronger each time. Keep trying until you reach your dream body, your ideal image, or even the feeling of improved strength. Even then, you don't stop trying, because you want to maintain your dream. Point is, don't be afraid to break or tear. It is an essential part of your growth. Through exercise, our muscles tear and break down, and then rebuild themselves to become stronger than before. There will be moments in our lives that may tear us down, but it is important to remember that we are like our muscles, and we will become stronger in the end. I would like to take a moment to give my gratitude to all the people that have supported me throughout the years. I thank my mother and father for their unconditional support and love. I thank all my friends for having my back in times of need. A special shout out to Valedictorian Dina Vasquez for being my best friend, as well as my competition. You deserve this title more than I do. I thank all my teachers. It has been a pleasure learning from you. I thank my coaches and teammates for sharing what it means to be part of a team. I thank the lunch ladies, staff, and administrators for keeping our school successful and thriving. For all the good and bad experiences, I am grateful for the memories built here at Eisenhower. I hope all of you have made wonderful memories with your friends, classmates, teachers, mentors, coaches, and teams. I just want to point out that valedictorian is nothing but a title to me, because I know everyone here has the potential to achieve the same thing. Each and every one of you have creative, brilliant, unique minds. With that, I encourage the class of 2020 to share your brilliance with the world. And once again, I encourage all to embrace your mistakes in order to achieve your greatest potential. And as Bruce Lee once said, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. On a final note, please stay safe, maintain good hygiene, and keep moving forward. Thank you.
As members of the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education, it is with a great deal of pleasure that we accept the graduating class of 2020.
We do hereby certify that these students have met all of the course requirements as set forth by the Board of Education and the State of California. Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Okay, Mrs. Kelly, we are back on air.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn closed session?
So moved.
Second, Martinez.
I have Montes made the motion. Who's the second? Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Vote by board members to adjourn out of closed session for Nancy O'Kelly, aye. Dina Walker? Aye. Joe Martinez?
Aye.
Joe Ayala? Joe Ayala? Edgar Montes?
Aye.
Okay, does anyone know if Mr. Ayala is on mute? Well, we have 4 out of 5, so we are adjourning closed session at 7:16 p.m. And open session is reconvening at 7:16 p.m. And first we have the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will say, because it gets too confusing with us all trying to say it at the same time. So if everybody would just stand and put their hand over their heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have a report out of closed session, Dr. Avila?
Yes, we do, President O'Kelly. We have one, the Board of Education accepted the retroactive repayment of underpaid secondary teacher number 2530820. The roll call vote was unanimous. And that is all I have.
Okay. Next item is to adopt the agenda, but before we do that, I have a readout. It says the following item will be pulled from the agenda, item E 4.7, under business and financial consent items. Agreement with Franklin Covey Education for Frisbee Middle School. That item is being pulled. All right. And so the motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Martinez.
So moved.
Okay, Martinez made the motion. Mr. Montes came in second, so you get to second it.
That's fine.
Vote by board members. For O'Kelly, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay, presentations, we have none. And so we move into comments, public comments from the floor. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Do we have any, Dr. Avila?
Yes, we do. We have a few. And remember, I want to remember or remind the board and the audience that I will read these a little bit slower than usual so that our interpreter has the opportunity to interpret for the Spanish-speaking audience. So good afternoon.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanisha. I have 2 children attending Morgan Elementary School. First off, I would love to say that I am truly grateful that my kids have the opportunity to work with amazing teachers. When you walk into the school, from the principal to the janitor, you feel that your kids are their #1 priorities. So I guess you know which way I am leaning towards: a transitional school year, even if it's just for a few hours a day. I am here to talk about what's good for my children and nobody else. My babies need a classroom setting. Distance learning wasn't for them. My daughter is an A/B student with mostly Bs. If the school didn't decide to do second trimester grades for the end of the year, my daughter's grades would have dropped. Her motivation wasn't there like it was to the start of third grade. She would come home so excited to tell me how her day went with her teacher, Mrs. Wertz, and what she had learned. I had to witness my happy child go from eager to learn to not so eager. Only time she got excited was when they did Google Meet. My daughter is also in speech therapy with Mrs. Castro. She absolutely adores her. Over distance learning, Mrs. Castro sent learning materials. However, we only did a few. It wasn't the same for her, nor for my son. For him being in kindergarten, he didn't really understand like his sister did about not going to school. My son is also a good student like his sister. However, when distance learning was happening, it was hard to get him to do anything. While he had the confidence at school with Mrs. Montoya learning new things, saying his sight words, CBC, and much more, when he was working with me, all he can say is, I don't know, and starting to doubt himself and get frustrated, like he wasn't trying no more. I tried motivating him, telling him he got this, but nothing. Also this year, my son was taking speech alongside his sister. One day, Mrs. Montoya reached out to me because normally my son would have turned work in, and she was concerned that he may have been sick. I thanked her for checking in on him and proceeded to tell her that I am the one that's not doing so well. From being an essential worker to 2 jobs, a wife, a mother, taking care of my mother, and now a teacher was becoming overwhelming for me. I was literally in tears and felt like the worst parent on earth. I get that some parents and teachers have concerns about COVID-19. It's a very serious thing. I applaud stay-at-home parents. However, that isn't the case for me. I do as much as I can to be present for my kids. Some parents might be saying, I just want my kids out of the house because I can't handle them. You can't be further from the truth. I am a volunteer at my kids' schools. I have no problem helping teachers with supplies that they need for their classroom. I truly believe that it takes a village to raise a child to shape them for the future. My kids need to be also around their peers. This feels unreal. I used to love hearing kids laughing and smiling, playing with their friends while I waited for the school bell to ring. Watching the kindergarten, TK, preschool kids run and play tag. How my daughter would jump in my car smiling about her new was and what she learned. Hearing my 5-year-old son talk about how he have a crush with a girl in his classroom. Him excited.
Dr. Avila?
Yes.
Dr. Avila?
Yes.
There's some background noise.
It sounds like somebody's driving somewhere.
Okay, it stopped.
Okay. Having a crush with a girl in his classroom, him excited about seeing Mr. Kovic and his robotic, him talking about how he wrote about Mario, the excitement in my kids' faces about their day at school makes my day. My babies were motivated by having breakfast with Mr. Vara when they had perfect attendance, getting to hear their name being called at the assembly for teacher honor, principal honor, student of the month, and/or perfect attendance. Before spring break, my daughter entered her first writing competition. She was so happy, yet she was upset that she didn't get to know if the person reading it enjoyed it. While I voice my concerns that I prefer my kids to be in the classroom, I have people, parents that don't agree with me and judge me, making me feel like I'm doing this for my own selfishness. and that I don't care about my kids' safety whatsoever, and that's not the case. Then I start doubting myself and questioning if this is a good decision. My main force is my babies and what works for them. I am an advocate for my babies when they don't have a voice. When I look into their eyes, I know that I am doing what's right for them. Just writing this letter is putting tears in my eyes. Yes, I want my kids to be safe, but I also want my kids to be their happy, confident, smart, and motivated self yet again. I think we should do both for those who want distance learning and those that want transitional. And for those that want transitional, follow the guidelines. Sorry for the long letter, and thank you, Tanisha Chandler. Hello, my name is Sarah Montoya, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Morgan Elementary. I have a few questions about if we do the distance learning format. The first question relates to kindergarten. As a kindergarten teacher, I have to do baseline tests for my students, which have to be done on a one-on-one basis. In fact, the majority of our testing in kindergarten is one-on-one. Having them count, recognize numbers and letters, produce letter sounds, and even writing numbers, just to name a few, are tests that shouldn't be done online, but in person. If we do only distance learning, it would be very difficult to have an accurate account and measurement for our students. If we do the distance learning format, we will be very able to physically meet with our students to perform these tests. The second question would be distinguishing a time frame for teachers and students to be online. I find it very difficult for 5-year-olds to be able to navigate through different online programs such as Google Meet and Google Classroom without the aid of an adult. Are they going to be able to participate in class discussions and assignments during regular classroom hours if their parents are at work during school hours? Thank you for your time. Good evening, my name is Carla Pickett. I have children both in elementary and high school with RUSD. In the midst of the current crisis surrounding my children's education, I have the following questions. Will there be a survey opting in for hybrid when we transition back to in-person learning? What will be the ratio of asynchronous versus synchronous learning? How will you ensure the 240 minutes of instruction via AB 77? What online platform will schools use to support instruction virtually? Will teachers be hosting check-ins with students? If so, how often is the norm for the district? How will teachers be checking in with parents to discuss the child's performance? How will services be rendered to students who might be in need of additional support services identified with SSTMs? Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Carla Pickett. Good afternoon, board members, superintendent, and community. My name is Rosa Fuentes. I had a very positive experience with my daughter's teachers during her summer school classes. I would like to express my concerns regarding opening the next school year. As a parent, my biggest concern is to send my daughter to school knowing that the cases of COVID-19 are increasing daily. I know the importance of education and the face-to-face learning, but my first priority is the safety of my daughter, educators, and the community. We have to be responsible in how the schools are going to be open and how to ensure the safety of all students and staff. Any decision the board takes, I hope it includes the option of distance learning for all students. Maybe a portion of the student body requires face-to-face instruction. My hope is that those students are served in a safely manner. Kudos to the teachers who made distance learning a success. Kudos to the staff who took the ball and started running with it. You are my heroes. Respectfully, Rosa Fuentes. I would like to voice my opinion and say we need schools to open full-time. I have 2 kids in school, 4th and 6th. Both are anxious to get back to school. The science shows that there is no increase in COVID cases when schools open in other countries. Stop making schools not reopening about politics. My kids are in desperate need of the teacher-to-student physical learning. Online learning was horrible, not to mention the hardship you are putting on working families that will have to stay at home and instruct our kids ourselves. If I need to sign waivers to send my kids back to school knowing the risk, I would do it in a heartbeat. Diana Melendez. Board members, Dr. Avila. My son has been an English learner for the last 9 long years and still has not reclassified due to poor instruction and attention from the EL program. Many of these students already graduated with the stigma of being English learners, and though they speak very well English and understand well too, to go on to college, they are having many difficulties and challenges for being classified as English learners during their K-12 education. No one has done anything to help these students, and the equity, equality, and congruence and social justice has been omitted from their instruction in class as well as in distance learning. Why have equity, equality, congruence, and social justice have not been implemented into the instruction of English learners during the K-12 years? It is evident English learners are not as important as they should be, since the state and federal money given expressly for EL students is not being spent to prepare them better with equity, equality, congruence, and social justice. As a parent, I have been asking teachers, strategists, school administrators, the director of EL, and every single administrator at the district, the school and the classroom is doing, what the district, the school, and classroom is doing for my son, and I never get a straight answer because they are not helping my student to succeed. And with the COVID-19, it's been worse to get the help my student needs. The schools are not providing the help these students need. The resources are not available in the parent's native language so that they can help prepare their child. And the tutoring available is not suitable. To give you some examples of this inequity, inequality, inequity, incongruence, and social justice. I have been told that it is hard to teach English-speaking students the basic academic fundamentals, but it is harder to engage and instruct EL students because of language barriers with school staff and even coordinating outreach to parents who do not speak English. I am an engaged parent, and when I ask, investigate, and try to get the help for my son, it goes to deaf ears. My son speaks well English since he is not bilingual, so the barrier of any language is not an issue to his understanding. Therefore, it is the poor instruction he receives by not meeting his needs. Rialto USD receives millions in state and federal money to help specifically these students learn the standards to meet or exceed the standards, yet these students are falling behind more and more every single year. As an engaged parent, I have yet to see a plan for these EL students, and nothing has been released from the EL program as to this date. Nothing has been done to help my student during these 9 years. I can no longer wait for my son to get the help he needs in order to reclassify and pair his education at the level of the English-speaking students. So I am not asking you any longer, but demanding you to do something for my son in order for him to reclassify with the equity, equality, congruence, and social justice he deserves and he is entitled. I will continue to come to you board members every board meeting until I get help for my son, and a plan has been given to me and parents that are in the same circumstances as myself and my son. Please understand my frustration. Respectfully, Maria Sandoval. Good evening, board members and Dr. Avila. I hope you and your families are doing well. I first would like to give a shout out to the communications department, especially Ricardo Carlos and Matthew Peters. for a great job on updating the district's website. Great job. I also want to give a shout to the Nutrition Services Department and all the wonderful and amazing jobs they continue to do for our students and community. Thank you. I know right now is a crucial time for the board to make decisions for the upcoming school year. I am trusting that you will do what is best for all stakeholders and will not be led by fear or negative comments, but by true data and not hearsay. We here at Rialto Unified have our own needs. We cannot compare ourselves to other districts. The Public Health Office of San Bernardino made public the number of children ages 5 through 19 years old diagnosed with COVID-19. Here in Rialto, we have 103 yes, 103 is one too many. Our surrounding neighbors, Colton 74, Fontana 219, Bloomington 28, and San Bernardino 311. I'm sharing this just so that you can be aware of what is happening, and we need to be very careful how we make decisions. As a reminder, I also ask the board to please ask whoever is in charge of the district's wide plan for English learners. We need to make sure we have something in place in order to help our long-term students reclassify. This is a continuous issue that we must not ignore. Thank you, Dr. Avila, for reading my comment. Have a good night and stay safe. Mirna Ruiz. Good evening, all. As a parent, I am concerned along with every other parent about the current event of COVID-19. However, it's not just a decision to be made whether to stay at home or distance learning. There's not just a one-size-fits-all answer. You see, some of us are single parents. Some parents need both incomes, and without our children in school and a reliable and trustworthy source watching our children, we cannot work. We believe in herd immunity, but also believe in being financially stable. With unemployment benefits ending July 27, many of us will have no source of income and cannot work because we have to watch our children at home if you decide to do distance learning. It's not just an education decision you'll be making, it's actually who's going to whose everything they work for and who's going to be able to maintain. I believe that decision might be out of your realm. I don't believe the school district should have authority when it comes to financially affecting households that rely on kids being in school so the parents can work. I believe the COVID-19 numbers have been skewed in place out of proportion. I know my thinking is not the popular vote. However, if you decide to do distance learning, I believe you should also have a remote distance learning center in the cafeteria at Trapp School and every other school so some of the parents can still go to work and pay bills. Also, if it's going to be distance learning, the teachers need to be part of distance learning at least 4 hours a day. The last few months that wrapped up the end of the school year were a complete fail. My daughter's 4th grade teacher was MIA throughout the entire week and only assigned assignments and didn't teach anything. Then the 1 hour he decides that he's going to make his appearance on a Monday, he does it while the breakfast and the lunch pickups are occurring. As a mother, I don't believe I should have to choose between feeding my child and her being online for the 1 hour the teacher decides he can appear. Also, I don't think I should take a week for the teacher to reply to emails. The teacher needs to be a little bit more involved. But also you need to have a solution for some of us who depend on our kids being in school so we can work. There should be a distance learning setup in the cafeteria 6 feet apart. Mask whatever you want to do, but please don't make a decision where my finances are at stake because of an education decision. It's not fair though. This whole entire situation. I can't leave a 10-year-old home alone, but I don't have anywhere close to take her to watch her. But I need to work, and I can't work at home like some people are lucky enough to be able to do. Please consider all the angles that you'll be making a decision based off because you were going to be affecting more than this child being present at school or distance learning. It involved way much more than that. It will take a trickle effect down onto the households that don't have the blessed setup like some households do, with maybe grandparents or aunts or cousins being able to watch children while their parents go to work. My entire livelihood is in your hands. Sincerely, Sarah Amick. And that's all I have for items not on the agenda.
Okay. All right, next we move on to public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Do we have any?
Yes, we do. We have two. The first, on page 71, Frisbee Middle is requesting $25,000 to pay for another year of subscription to the Leader in Me program. While this program seems beneficial on the surface, the district remains ignorant of its effectiveness or operation. Further, given that education model for the 2020-2021 school year is still being finalized, a premature and expensive subscription like this could be money misspent. Additionally, other schools in the district participate in this program yet have never been audited on its effectiveness. For example, Dullahan Elementary participates in Leader in Me, yet they are still dramatically underperforming according to their California school dashboard. Frisbee Middle School also has low performance. Are they able to account for how the program worked in its first year? Without that information, the board cannot make an educated vote on the proposal. Perhaps administrators see LIM, Leader in Me, as a quick and easy pill to fix the issues at the school. Perhaps if LIM schools can demonstrate the program's effectiveness and provide some data and maybe allow district officials a look into the online database, then you can allow continued subscription to the services. Leader in Me currently does not seem to be helping Dullahan. At what point do you prevent the leaders at these schools from passing the buck or $25,000 bucks and hold them accountable for low academic performance and high suspension rates? Could we enact step increase freezes until performance standards increase? Can the district do more to assist historically underperforming schools like Dullahan and Frisbee? Frisbee students are 97% minority and 95% of them are economically disadvantaged, and the students are not meeting language arts and mathematics standards. Is administration and district really trying hard enough to think outside the box? The Frisbee website currently only includes a link to leaderinme.org, but it's an impersonal and generic website that does not connect to student and has no resources or information for students to interact with. What exactly are the $25,000 doing? Teachers are already supposed to be facilitators of greatness, and they don't need an outside program to establish school identity. That should be the principal's job. Teachers are already inundated with resources and workshops. This proposal is filled with empty phrases and meaningless promises. Thank you, the LA Lit Review, education consulting firm. Good evening, board members and Dr. Avila. I want to speak on item F1 and F9. I would like to thank all involved on item F1, which is the shade structure for the softball field at Carter High School. It has been a long time since the softball players have had to endure the agony of being under the sun. I have firsthand experience of the need of the shade. I also hope that the next step will be adding bleachers for the same fields, along with shade structures and bleachers for parents and guests, visitor teams to sit down. Yes, there is none right now. Right now will be the best time to add all that is necessary. I would also like to thank Agent or Director of Special Education Services, Bridget Ely, for continuing the search for the very much needed auditory verbal therapy, short AVT, for our deaf, hard of hearing students. Item F.9, John Tracy Clinics is an amazing center and has preschool services that truly help our children. I also know from experience, as my own daughter went to JTC, there are currently students that are owed a couple of years on compensatory services for the lack of auditory verbal therapists in the surrounding counties. Have a wonderful evening and stay safe. Sincerely, Mirna Ruiz. And that's all for items on the agenda.
Okay. Next, we have comments from Association Executive Board members. Do we have any comments from our unions?
We do from the substitute teachers employees. It says, good evening, everyone. We miss working with students and colleagues at the school sites and look forward to having that opportunity again in the near future. Distance learning is not the same as being able to have educators and students working in the classroom, but we are committed to working with the district and making the changes necessary to advance student learning. Teresa Hunter, AVP, Certificated Substitutes Teacher, and Heather Estridge, Chief Steward, Rialto USD. Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Avila, Innovation Team, and viewing audience. I am Angela Brantley, President of Rialto School Managers Association. RSMA would like to share how proud we are that our RUSD School Board voted unanimously on June 26th to recognize racism as a public health crisis. As an association, our goal will be to operate in a manner that supports this resolution. Many of our members have already engaged in a few activities to propel us on this continuous journey of ensuring equity for our students. We hosted a virtual event where we invited Reverend Sam Casey of Congregations Organized for Prophetic Engagement, or COPE, to share his call on the County of San Bernardino to recognize racism as a public health crisis. He challenged all who participated in the RSMA virtual event to take steps to continue to be equity warriors for kids. In collaboration with AXA, CALSA, and other organizations, several of our members have participated in the book study club hosted by Dr. Renee Bryant. We are reading Ibram X. Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. This week, Dr. Shelley Holt guided us through the biology of racism. In the coming weeks, more fundamental points of interest surrounding anti-racism will be explored. We invite our board members and all our RUSD managers or any staff to join us. If you are interested, please reach out to me. This is a reminder to all RUSD classified, confidential, and certificated managers that our RSMA membership drive will kick off in a few weeks, and we look forward to everyone partnering with us to continue to make our association strong in supporting our members and the students of Rialto. Be on the lookout for information from Tina Lingenfelter, our VP of Membership. We would like to commend Dr. Avila on a successful motivational annual strategic summit held virtually on July 10th. Although we were not able to be together in a physical space, the power of his infectious leadership came through and inspired all of us. He shared that the upcoming year will be an opportunity for discovery. As we prepare to begin the 2021 school year amid the pandemic and the opportunities that it brings in reopening our schools, we stand together with our board and all members of the Rialto District and our community in discovering what we can do if we work together with our students at the core of all decisions and provide the needed support of our teachers and staff in their individual roles. In honor of Dr. Avila's theme, I will end with this quote: "One doesn't discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time." Andre Guide. So let's set out this journey together and eagerly anticipate what we will discover in this school year. Thank you, Angela Brantley. And that is all we have.
Okay, well now we turn to comments from the superintendent. Go ahead, Dr. Avila.
Okay, thank you once again, President O'Kelly. And just briefly, I just want to thank everyone for their continued patience on plans to reopen the new school year. The impact of decisions, just for those of you who may not be familiar with this, have been subject to negotiations. We have, I'm told we finally settled with our teacher association, so congratulations to the staff on both sides that they were able to bring this together. But keep in mind that decisions to change the opening of a school year are not done unilaterally. We have to take into account the collective bargaining agreements and the interests of our staff. The circumstances we are currently living are real, particularly as it remains, so much remains unknown related to COVID-19. I empathize with each of you as best as I can, because I know the opening of the school year, which will be very different this year, will have a different impact on many of you. And we will do our best to accommodate as much as we can, but keep in mind that in the end, all of this will be driven by data provided by health officials, particularly here locally. I've mentioned in several of the comments the numbers, the staggering numbers related to COVID-19 cases in Rialto having doubled in a period of little over 2 weeks. And so regardless of the instructional model, know that the staff, the teachers, and everybody in between are ready to give their very best to each of our students. As of today, the proposal is to open up the school year with 100% distance learning. This is a proposed plan that will be taken up by the board as of now this Friday at a special board meeting for their official consideration as a Board of Education. I continue to encourage you to stay safe, healthy, and strong. And that's all I have.
Okay. Comments from members of the Board of Education. Mr. Montes.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. I just too would just like to say that haven't really been up to saying much, and I feel the need to speak up a little bit here at tonight's board meeting. We're all under a lot of stress. We're all under a lot of pressure. Politics in our country is gone haywire. There's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of hate and racism out there. A lot of craziness, and we've got to remain calm and collected. I've been getting a lot of calls in regards to what we're going to do about the opening of the school year, and I look forward to a plan that's going to work for everybody. Obviously, not everyone's going to be happy with whatever decision the board ultimately makes. I just hope that the plan and the recommendation that comes forward to us soon will be truly in the best interest of everybody. We've got to continue to keep safety our number one priority over education. Education is the name of the game as a public school district. We're here to educate, but what good is it to educate if we have no one to educate, or if we're going to put people's lives at jeopardy or at risk? So safety has to continue to be our number one priority, and I believe it is for most of us, for all of us maybe. I think maybe some people are just not taking the whole COVID thing as serious as we should be. But the country, the state's getting ready to go through another shutdown any minute, and we have to take it serious. So again, I look forward to the plan that will be coming to us soon, and hope that we do the right thing for everyone. And then I know that not everyone is going to be happy with that decision, but we've got to do what's truly in the best interest of everybody, of the entire Rialto community, school district, and the surrounding communities who provide our the help that we have here at the district, including all of the surrounding people who live in different communities in our area. So with that, thank you, and we'll continue to do the best that we can.
Thank you, Mr. Montes. Mr. Ayala.
Thank you, President O'Kelly. My thoughts are, again, safety is the #1 priority. We also have to be reasonable with our decisions, and our decisions will be based on data and information that we receive from the state, from the federal government. We are a local entity here, and we'll take that in consideration without a doubt. But our decisions won't be hasty. We'll come up with a plan to modify the distance learning and follow the reports and the guidelines. I mean, what else can be expected of us? We can't just roll the dice and play Russian roulette with our children. We can't do that. Nobody can expect us to do that. So that's the first issue. The second issue is that we still have not resolved what's going to happen down the road economically. So in my own mind, and I'm speaking for myself, the expenditures that come out on the general fund, okay, and I know it's not going to be very popular, but if the money's coming out of the general fund, I cannot support spending money until we are concrete and resolved with not losing staff. Staff is ultimately very, very important. And I know there's arguments, what good is the staff if there's no students? Well, we're probably within a year away from the cure for COVID. We're all got our fingers crossed and praying. And so if we let our qualified staff go, people say, well, you can just hire them again. It doesn't always work like that. These people are going to be without jobs. They will not be rehired. Other communities are going to take a fall because most school districts are the largest employer in those municipalities. We cannot let those school districts go down. So that second item about spending money may not be a popular vote for me, for those the way I will vote, but I just cannot see spending money out of the general fund until I know for sure that we protected the future of our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. Okay. Board Clerk, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez, do you have comments?
If I took it off mute, you'd hear me. Sorry. Thank you, President O'Kelly. What we really need to do as a board is stand together, which we always have. From the community, the most we can expect, and I ask for your prayers, and specifically for wisdom. What I do know is that education is all about people. And Rialto loves their people, and I love Rialto, and so does the board. So in a perfect world, COVID would be gone. We'd have something else to worry about, but we'd have our regular lives back. Ultimately, the things we do know is we're supposed to teach as close to a traditional year as possible. That means 180 or 240 minutes, depending on grade. That means to set a standard for time. So like the complaint came in, well, we can't expect to work around the teacher's schedule when nothing's communicated. We're working on communication. There's a program and an app we're voting on, Remind. This should make teachers' life a little easier. Trying to do that, but we're supposed to set a standard of time. In other words, school is supposed to be 8 to 4 or whatever the hours are. Those are flexible at this point. Nothing's set in stone. But we're supposed to try to get to a standard teaching day. That means give everybody something that they can count on, including the youth. Okay. In the beginning, it's going to, we're proposing 100% online because that's safest. Now, Dr. Avila will be coming out with something in the next day, I believe, or two, that tells you where we take our advice from. And basically, that's where the newscasters all take it as well, from the state, from the county, from the city officials, all the health departments, all the people that are supposed to know, they're paid to know they're the best in their field. And they know better than we do. They're closer to the data. They're closer to things that switch quickly. Now, I expect that this is going to be a year of transition, as other board members have said, that it's going to, all of us are going to have to remain flexible, because as we've found out, COVID changes life overnight. We could still have something that changes quickly, and I'm talking related to school. The hours could change. We could go from 100% one way to 100% the other way within a week. And ideally, we can give you, the community, something that you can rely on again, some form or semblance of normalcy. I know that's what everyone needs, especially our young ones. They're the ones who need it the most. They don't understand why they can't play with their friends or get all dirty out in the street with their friends. And that's all part of growing up. We're going to pay a price for it for the rest of their life and the rest of our life. So I am praying for our community, and I ask you to join me, that we get through this with the wisdom and support of the community. We all want the same thing. We don't want anybody to die. We want the best education that we can provide. So we need to remain collaborative, and we need to remain flexible. So that doesn't mean that everyone's going to get their way. If I had my way, everyone would get a raise, everyone would be at work, and, we'd be back to norm. But I can't have my way today. So stand with us. That's all we ask. And thank you for all your help, all your support, all your prayers, all your input. We're doing the best we can with the best information that we have in the shortest amount of time to get you back to normal living. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Madam President, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Okay, Vice President, Ms. Walker.
This is Vice President Walker. Sorry for we've got our food coming. Just wanted to say, I understand all the concerns around how we're going to open the opportunity, or trying to miss the opportunity, so that we're not, increasing our risk of illnesses for our families. Thank you. But while a lot of people are worried about that piece, and we've got enough people worrying about that, you know, one of my concerns is the biggest concern for me is what's going to happen with the education of these kids over this break again. So we're going to do our best again for the district to ensure that we're being safe for everyone and what's in the best interest of our community. I just want to make sure that our teachers have the support, our district has the support to ensure the best plan so that our students are still going to get a quality education over this time, because this has not been the best opportunity for our most marginalized students. So I'm just trusting that our teachers and our staff putting together plans to ensure that this doesn't bring us even further, bring a further gap in the achievement of our students. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Walker. And I'd just like to add, I hope people understand that school boards all over the country are having these same discussions, these same arguments because of this COVID-19 virus. But children should definitely be in school. And I know most of them are unhappy being at home because this is not a normal life for them. They want to be at school. They want to be with their teachers. They want to be with their friends. They learn better that way. We know that. But I know our teachers in the Rialto Unified School District can provide them with a very comprehensive program of distance learning for the time we feel we are going to need it. Our first priority has to be safety of our staff, students, and the community. And when the numbers are indicating that things are under better control, that's when we will start phasing in these other options for our students. We want them back as much as all of you want them to be back. And we're not going to risk their lives for it, though, or the lives of our teachers. So thank you for understanding, and we understand everybody's personal predicament, but at this time, safety has to be our top priority. Thank you. All right, we have no public hearings tonight, so we move on to the consent calendar, which was amended when we adopted the agenda to pull E 4.7. That item we will not be voting on. Are there any other pulls on the consent calendar? No other polls?
None from me, Ms. O'Kelly.
Thank you. How about Mr. Ayala? Any polls on the consent calendar?
Not on the consent.
Okay, Mr. Monte. Pardon me?
This is Walker saying none for me. No polls.
Okay. And Edgar, do you have any polls on the consent calendar?
No, Nancy, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Then I'd like a motion at this time to approve the consent calendar as amended.
Martinez.
So moved.
Okay, Martinez made the motion. Mr. Montes, the second.
I can have the second. I can have a second.
Okay. Vote by board members to approve consent calendar items. For me, it's an aye. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. So we move on to discussion action items. Starting with F1, it says award bid number 19-20-015 for installation of 2 shade structures on the softball field at Carter High School. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
So move, Montes.
Okay, and a second?
Martinez.
All right, and the item reads award, well, I already said that, award bid number 19-20-015 for the installation of 2 shade structures on the softball field at Carter High School to IBL Contractors Incorporated for a total cost not to exceed $53,750 to be paid from Fund 21, Measure Y, Series C, General Obligation Bond. Any discussion? Okay. Well, let's have a vote by board members. I'm voting aye. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. Item F2, agreement with Catch-On Incorporated. Approve an agreement with Catch-On Incorporated for an annual license effective July 16, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $56,250 to be paid from the general fund. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Martinez.
Is there a second?
Walker, second.
Okay. And vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
And Mr. Montes?
Nay.
Okay, did you all read the description of this program? It's a software tool that allows the users to compile real-time data on device types used within the district and attain visibility into all online software and app activity, including website activities. Catch-On can help the district invest wisely with software renewals, detect trends, manage subscriptions, identify training gaps, diagnose applications vulnerable to student data, privacy policies, and improve usages.
Comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Martinez.
For the public, they may not understand what's going on. It only requires 3 votes for an item to be acted on, meaning pass or fail. In this case, we have 3 yeses and 2 noes. And this is the important part for the public to understand, after an item passes with yeses, the following 2 votes can vote their heart. While the board always wants to remain together, if they have really something that irks them about an item, they have the, how would I put this? They have the option of voting no on it because it's already passed. So it's something they feel strongly about, and they have the luxury of being able to vote no. So back to you, Madam President.
Point of order, actually. Point of order.
Yes, Mr. Montes.
Action's already been taken, so it's no longer relevant.
Oh, I know. I was sort of late on that, but it's okay. All right. F3, agreement with Amplified IT for G Suite Enterprise for Education. Approve an agreement with Amplified IT for the annual purchase of G Suite Enterprise for Education effective August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $56,500 to be paid from the general fund. All right, and this is something we are going to need because of distance learning. Okay, it says they have teachers and staff would retain access to the full functionality of Google Meet along with new features set to roll out in the fall. Staff and students would also benefit from the plagiarism feature built into Google Classroom, just eliminating the need to purchase other plagiarism tools. G Suite Enterprise for Education.
Board Member Kelly, I move to accept.
Second.
Okay. Vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. The next item F4 is an agreement with Remind, which is a two-way communication platform that allows staff to reach parents and students. The proven agreement with Remind to provide an app platform for communication between staff and parents effective July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $53,800 to be paid from the general fund. I'd like to point out this is one of the things that some of the parents were complaining about with distance learning, and it will help maximize the ability to communicate with our families during these uncertain times. So, is there a motion to approve this item?
Martinez.
Is there a second?
Walker, second.
All right, vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Before I vote, just a comment, please.
Sure.
Just want to remind, every time we spend $50,000 out of the general fund, it could result in one beginning teacher's job. So I vote nay on it.
Mr. Montes?
I agree with Mr. Ayala's comment. We need to be careful and spend wisely. I, however, do receive communication from Remind, and it is somewhat helpful with distance learning, so I'm in favor of this item. Aye.
It will.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Item F5, agreement with Soft Choice Corporation for Microsoft products. The item reads, approve a renewal agreement with Soft Choice Corporation for annual Microsoft product installation and upgrades for Microsoft products effective August 1st, 2020 through July 31st, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $241,524.65 to be paid from the general fund. Is there any discussion on this item?
Yes.
There's
Okay,
discussion for
President Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need a motion before we discuss it.
So move. Walker?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay,
Martinez.
now.
Yeah, just a point of order. We're supposed to have discussion before taking the votes on all action items.
I know.
Says the self-proclaimed parliamentarian.
Okay. All right. Now we need. Is there any discussion? Anybody want to bring up any other?
Please. I just want to
ahead.
remind those who are listening that there was a time that we taught without the fancy updates and that are required for these computer systems. I know things evolve, but I also feel like during these crisis times that somebody's trying to take advantage of us here. That's an awful lot of money right there. And if you do the division there, but you're looking at what, 4 or 5 sheets right there on that one item, and it just keeps going. So I hope people understand what's at stake here, because there's nothing in concrete that says we're going to be okay in a couple of years. So we have a $60 million deficit. And I'm looking at adding these numbers up, and we can save probably 1/3 of that deficit. Thank you.
And Ms. O'Kelly, is staff available to give a little more information in regards to the item?
Is staff available, Dr. Avila? My point of view is distance learning and everything we're going through, we have to have the technology. We have to have what it's going to take for the technology to work well.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. I just think it is a little pricey, but we could have a little more information from staff. It'd probably be helpful.
Dr. Avila, is someone there to answer these questions?
Yes, staff is available. They're on the call. Beth Ann, are you there?
Good evening. This is Beth Ann Scansbury, Chief Technology Officer.
Good evening.
Hi, Beth Ann.
Good evening, Board.
The board would like you to clarify this purchase and what it does for us.
Right. So we have over 309 servers in the district, which this will allow us. That's the software that runs all the district equipment on the network. And then we have over 17,000 Windows machines. So that's desktop computers for staff and the Windows machines that the high school students use throughout the district. And this allows us to upgrade our software. As Microsoft puts items out, we're able to upgrade those without any additional cost. But this is what keeps it going. So I know it's a pricey piece, but it's basically our backbone, which keeps the network running.
Okay,
so
does anyone have any other questions? Okay, is the board ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, vote by board members. O'Kelly, is it aye? Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Item F6, renew agreement with McGraw-Hill Education Assessment and Learning in Knowledge Spaces, also known as ALEC, online math support. Renew the agreement with McGraw-Hill for 14,000 licenses for the online ALEC program for students in grades 6 to 12, effective August 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, for a total cost not to exceed $251,580. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved, Walker.
Okay, is there a second?
Martinez?
All right, and is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Ayala.
Okay. Just keeping things simple. A teacher can go on YouTube, record their lesson, and the students can go online and look at the YouTube lesson and follow the directions, and then turn in their homework. And it seems that simple. And I know what I'm reading here makes it sound as if we cannot function unless we spend all this money. And I still vehemently disagree. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. It said there was the write-up in the back says that there's a very positive correlation between the number of hours that students use the ALEKS program and the percentage of those students who scored, met, or exceeded on the math SBA. I've heard only good things about it. So
I agree. I agree with Nancy. I agree with Mr. Ayala that this program can be there's alternate tools and programs that are free, that are available online, that can do the job that ALEKS does. And I know ALEKS is, a lot of people like it, and it works for a lot of students. But just like Mr. Ayala said, we have to prioritize spending. And with this particular program, I do believe that it can be easily replaced with other free programs online, whether it's YouTube or other types of free tools for students. That's all I wanted to say.
Martinez, eventually we will get there. The problem is that this came upon all of us in a week. Next week we're teaching is what the teachers heard. A lot of them are not up to speed. And as Mr. Ayala has said many times, and I agree with them, we can only move as fast as the slowest runner. So if we were in a different situation in industry, heard it before, and I deplore this statement, but it's true, we could unilaterally say we're going, those who don't want to can leave, but we are not in that situation, nor do I want to. We are in education. Again, it is a people business. So we value our teachers, we value our students, and yes, we could do it a lot cheaper with a lot more elbow grease, though, from teachers and from students. If we're going to do that, I would highly recommend we wait until we get back to the traditional, normal school year and then make these implementations. Back to you, President O'Kelly.
I agree,
Question?
Mr. Martinez. Yes.
Dr. Avila, do we have somebody that can speak to ALEKS and let us know if indeed the things that are done with ALEKS, the ALEKS program, can be done with alternative tools that may be available free online?
Yes, we do have staff on the call. So Elizabeth Curtis or Eva Serrato, are you there?
Yes, this is Eva Serrato.
Did you hear the question from Mr. Montes?
Yes, good evening, board, Dr. Avila and listening audience. My name is Eva Serrato. I'm the academic agent for Math, Science, College, and Career Pathways. So I did want to point out that our math adoption is the oldest curriculum adoption with the least amount of technology support. And ALEKS complements our curriculum by providing a web-based math program. And it does help the teachers address students' unique needs. One thing that we've done is that our math team has created ALEKS libraries for each math class that's aligned to the pacing guides of each math class from grade 6 all the way to the higher high school math classes. And this program can be used in a variety of ways. For example, students who are struggling teachers could use it as a response to intervention. For students who are accelerating, it's also used for those students to move ahead. Also, the ALEX item bank limits the CAS question type, and which exposes our students to most of the question types that they on the CAS for math. And during the school closure, the ALEX program proved to be invaluable as students were able to continue on their math path in ALEX. And the students still have access to it right now through the summer, and they can continue working on topics that they might not have mastered. The other thing is that, you know, a lot of the testing now, students deal with the AP testing, SAT, CAS, ACT, it's all online. And again, I know President O'Kelly mentioned about the data. And every year we do look at the data. And I have data for the latest CAS data that we have from 2018, 2019. And just a summary of the middle school data. For the students, well, we found that the tipping point was 10 hours of use. And so for those students in middle school who use ALEX for 10 or more hours, 24% of them scored met or exceeded on the CAS, versus 12% that scored met or exceeded on the CAS, and those are the students that use it for less than 10 hours. So it's not, for example, it's not a teacher just plopping student in front of this. It's strategic use of it to complement the lesson.
And Eva, before you continue, for those staff members that are on the call, if you can please be reminded to mute your microphones until you're called to speak, so that it can eliminate that background noise that we hear.
I was muted the whole time until I started talking.
Okay, does anybody else have anything they would like to add?
Okay, so again, just for clarification, so the tools offered by ALEX are not available through other means online without having to pay for this program?
I don't know of anything free that is even close to this and that aligns with our district pacing. I mean, there might be something out there, but I'm not aware of it. And we do use free programs as, you know, we find out about them. But again, I don't know of anything that can be used for everything from remediation to acceleration that aligns with our pacing guide.
Thank you, Eva. I'd like to mention that this is our July board meeting, and we go through this every year because July is when the orders have to go in for the things we are going to need for the coming school year. And sometimes these amounts look huge, and they are, but they're, you know, as far as I can tell, everything we voted on is there for a reason. So keep that in mind. Yep. This isn't like it's going to happen every month.
No. And the other thing is that we have to remain fiscally conservative with the funds of the district. And so it's like, right. on the one hand, we want to save teachers' jobs, and on the other hand, we want to provide teachers the tools that they need to make their job easier, especially through their distance learning. So it's like we're stuck between a rock and a hard spot here.
Right.
President O'Kelly?
Yes.
Comment? First of all, I want to compliment Eva Serrato for being very informative, very professional. I appreciate her comments. I just want to say that. But in addition to that, as a former teacher, okay, I can tell you that for me, if I would have had a choice in developing a curriculum, we all look at things a little different, but I believed right from the beginning, just like I feel now, you teach to the level of the child, not to the level of some text or some computer program. And so if you really measure where these kids are right now, we're going to have to be creative to keep them alive. And so our teachers know how to do that if you give them the autonomy. But if you just give them computer programs, then they'll just print out the regurgitation that some team put together, which I've seen those programs, and it flies over their heads like 747. So let's not forget the child, and teaching to the level of a child means an awful lot to a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala.
Now, this program does that, right, Nancy? This program does help kids at the level.
Right. It's used for RTI, which is to address the individual student at his level or her level so that they can be successful. And it goes right along with the curriculum they're using. So they're constantly getting that reinforcement.
All right, I'm good.
All right. Well, let's take a vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay, the next item. Agreement with Curriculum Associates for the iReady. Approve an agreement with Curriculum Associates for the iReady Diagnostic Assessment effective July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2023. This is a 3-year contract for a total of $513,597.04 to be paid during the 2020, 2021, and 2021-2022 fiscal years in 2 equal payments not to exceed $256,798.52 per year to be paid from the general fund. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
Walker, so moved.
Can I have a second? Okay, and discussion. Does anybody have questions or comments? The iReady, they give it 3 times a year, and it allows teachers to see what areas their students need growth in and adjust instruction accordingly. And since we are an underperforming school district, that is a good tool to have.
And also, Ms. O'Kelly, if I may, under SB 98, we are required to make up for lost instructional time, and we don't have any other comprehensive assessment to assess kids at the very beginning of the year to see where they are at this particular point in time for us to establish a benchmark and then craft out a plan to make up for the lost instructional time that we are required to do and submit a plan to the state for that. And so this is, and keep in mind, this came on board 3 or so years ago with the district in part to address the RTI model and to address the gap that we had at that point in time when assessing for special education needs because we did not have a comprehensive RTI model at the time and a comprehensive assessment tool. It just led to more identification where it could have possibly been avoided.
Thank you, Dr. Avila.
Comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, back to the rolling up your sleeves and doing the elbow grease. We have to have faith in our ability to make teacher-made tests. I have to believe that teachers know how to assess their students. They give them a pre-test, and a post-test. We did that for years. And the teachers, a lot of times, will submit their tests to admin for approval or to the department. So that alone would save another 5 teachers' jobs if we did that. Not only that, but somebody's got to stand up before the state, because when it comes time to push and shove, they're not going to give us any more money. So we're going to have to stand up to them and say, we made these decisions to save people's jobs because you weren't going to give us any more money. I don't know how much more clear it has to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. Does anyone else want to add anything?
Well, again, can we hear from staff, Nancy?
Sure.
Yes,
Staff,
we should have Paulina Villalobos available. Are you there, Paulina?
Yes, hi, my name is Paulina Villalobos. I'm Agent of Academic Technology.
Okay, could you talk about the, the iReady diagnostic assessment and why we're paying so much money for it, or what it does for us?
Of course. So iReady is our only computer adaptive assessment that the district has for both reading and math K-8. We take the assessment or the diagnostic 3 times a year to, again, monitor progress. That's the whole, that's the important piece. We're monitoring progress. We want to make sure that our students are growing year to year. As you all know, state testing was suspended when the state closed in March. So we usually have another point of data. We have our CAS data at this point, but we don't have that luxury this year. So this iReady data is going to be more important than ever before. We also, as somebody talked about earlier, we're going to need iReady data to determine the impact of that school closure in March.
Okay. Does that answer your questions, Mr. Montes?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, then let's have a vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker?
One more question, sorry.
Oh. Go ahead, Mr. Montes.
Will schools be provided instruction, the instruction part for ELA and math for iReady?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
Okay. All right, so vote by board members. For Mr. O'Kelly, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Mr. Montes?
Aye, yes, and Nancy, my question was that if schools are going to be provided with an iReady instruction part for ELA and math.
What do you mean? Have something to prepare them for the iReady?
No.
For the
Paulina, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, so I know that it has other components to the program. Are you able to answer that question regarding the math and the language arts instruction?
Yes, of course. So it's up to the school site to purchase the reading and the math instruction, the lessons. It remains something personal. Some school sites choose other programs such as IXL or ST Math, for example. So that's why the district doesn't purchase the instruction piece for all school sites.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next item is agreement with Text Help. Approve an agreement with Text Help for Read and Write and Equate IO software effective July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $59,907.74 to be paid from the general fund. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
I'm sorry, Nancy, did you get everybody's vote on the last one?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve this item F8, agreement with Text Help.
Martinez.
Is there a second? Anybody want to second this motion?
I'll second it for the discussion.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Walker. Okay, so discussion. Who has questions or something they want to say about this?
I would just like to just a little more explanation of how it's going to be integrated into the student support.
Is Ms. Villalobos still on the line?
She should be. Paulina, are you there?
Yes, I am. So Text Help, we're looking to purchase 2 Chrome extensions, Read and Write and Equasio. So Read and Write and Equasio both integrate with the Chrome browser, so they both will integrate into our G Suite apps, so Google Docs, Google Classroom, etc.
Any more detail on that function? Why do we need that function?
Right, that's what I'm looking for.
So Read and Write provides support. So text-to-speech, speech-to-text, word prediction, masking. It has a dictionary, a picture dictionary. So all of these supports that students are going to need as they access PDFs, as they access the web. So these supports were vital. We had a chance to pilot them during distance learning March through May. And we had a lot of positive feedback, especially the ability to annotate a PDF file.
Does anybody else have any questions? No? Then let's do a vote by board members. For me, I'm going to go ahead and say aye. Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is an agreement with, gotta turn the page here. Agreement with John Tracy Clinic. The item reads, approve an agreement with John Tracy Clinic to provide auditory verbal therapy, ABT services effective July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $60,000 to be paid from the general fund special education budget. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Martinez, second.
Who made the motion?
Ayala.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any discussion on this item? Yeah, in that case, let's have a vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. For Ms. Walker? Aye. For Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
For Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. Next item, agreement with Presence Learning. Approve an agreement with Presence Learning to provide live online special education related services effective July 16, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 for a total cost not to exceed $65,000 to be paid from the general fund special education budget. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
Martinez.
So move, Walker. Okay, Ms. Walker, I'll have you do that as the second because Martinez, I heard him first. All right, any conversation about this?
Comment. As much
Go ahead, Mr. Ayala.
As much as I would like to help, this is another online special education related service. And our kids don't do real well online, especially those that are disadvantaged. Don't mean anything by that, but at a time of emergency right now, I just can't see moving in that direction. Thank you. Thank you.
President O'Kelly, this is Dr. Duffy. We do have Bridget Ely on the line if she's able to comment.
Okay, but please have her comment.
Good evening, Board. This is Bridget Ely, Lead Special Service Agent. So Presence Learning is a platform to allow our speech therapists and our occupational therapists and our, to provide support. So we need a platform to be able to provide services virtually for students who receive special ed services. And this creates the platform. It has hundreds of thousands of activities and materials. It was designed to assist in providing online support for students who receive services. So it gives our teachers, our therapists, our occupational therapists, and our school psychologists the opportunity virtually, since we're doing virtual distance learning, to be able to still provide those services and quality services and assessments. Our current platform, Google, doesn't allow for especially the speech therapists to see the children as they're interacting. If they have, like say if they're projecting a document, it doesn't allow them to see the student why they're interacting. This gives the platform for them to interact and to provide high quality services for our students through distance learning, which we're still, responsible for doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any comments? I'd just like to add that in order to meet the agreements in their IEPs, something like this is needed because there's virtually no other way to do it. So.
Yes, and then also, Ms. O'Kelly, we use this to help in our assessments. We still have to assess our students to be able to have the data. We have to do annual IEPs, triennial, initials, and this gives us the platform with it's already in the platform, all the different assessments. So it gives the speech therapists and the other service providers the opportunity to assess students without bringing them in face-to-face, since we're doing distance learning. Yes.
Thank you, Bridget.
No problem.
Does anyone else have any comments or questions? All right, well, let's take a vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. F11, agreement with Think Together Incorporated to provide after-school educational and safety, the ACES program. The item reads, approve an agreement with Think Together Incorporated, a nonprofit corporation for the purpose of providing the after-school education and educational and safety ACES program at 18 elementary and 5 middle schools in sites in the district. The term of the contract will be July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, with the option to renew for one additional year. Total annual cost is not to exceed 100% of the grant amount of $3,163,248.62 to be paid from the general fund. But we get a grant for that exact amount, so it goes into the general fund when we get it, and then it's pulled back out for Think Together. Does anybody have any comments or questions about this item?
Do we need a motion to approve?
Pardon me?
Do we need a motion to approve in a second in order to have discussion?
Oh, gosh.
Motion to approve,
right.
Walker.
Martinez,
And
second.
second?
Martinez.
Okay. All right, so anybody
President
have any discussion? Yes.
Yes. So President Kelly, what we're saying here is we have a grant equal to the amount that comes out of the general fund.
Right.
So
That grant goes right into the general fund, and then it's pulled out to pay Think Together.
No cost to the district.
So it's really not, right.
Okay, maybe one other question. We got $3 million here, a little over $3 million. That grant is written in stone that we have to spend it on Think Together, or is it that we have to provide after-school services?
It's that we have to provide after-school services. We don't have to contract with Think Together.
Okay.
They just happen to be doing a good job.
Nothing against them. They do a good job. But right now, this is a big hit here. Here's an opportunity by rolling up our sleeves again and doing something in-house and keeping people working. And we need to look like this. We need to think like that. I know it's so easy to say,
it costs a lot of money. That's why we have this grant. And Think Together does an excellent job, and they get the grant written for us, and they take care of all the details that go along with it. And the parents have their kids.
And the word here, the key word is after-school program, right? After-school education. We don't even have them in regular school, and we're going to spend $3 million after school. So I'm thinking we should have been a little
They're going to be providing services and working with teachers while we are out of school.
I think we missed the boat here, but I'm done. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
Yes, I had a question on.
Yeah, I chime in, or Ms. Walker can go first.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what is this really going to look like. There's support for our students for our after-school program, and I've read the report. I looked at the models of distance, how they're going to do distance and things of that sort. But I'm just trying to understand really how is that actually going to work. What is our accountability going to be towards ensuring that there's actual support, especially homework support, tutorial support that they've indicated in this particular report that our students actually receive? Because in years past, they have said that they don't do tutoring. So
from what I understand, they have a virtual platform, and they will be providing after-school homework help and tutoring and things like that.
And
no, I need to ask the staff, because what I'm saying is I've read the report. I understand, and I've read all the phases. I read all of that. I need to say, I'm asking, what about the accountability on them actually making sure that they're providing those services to our students as the quote-unquote homework support, but more specifically, because they've indicated in the report that they'll be providing tutoring. And in the years before, they've come back to tell us, oh, we don't do tutoring. And also that students they're not necessarily responsible for ensuring that kids are even doing their homework. So I just want to ask about that accountability, because this is a large amount of money, and especially because there is not the physical, there won't be the physical presence that's required of staff then. How is that going to look, and what is our going to be, what is our kind of check-in and accountability with them? What is their accountability? Who's responsible for that?
Angela Brantley oversees this grant. So Angela, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Good evening, board. This is Angela Brantley, the lead student services agent. And thank you for your question. So you're right, this is 100% grant funded, and we have contracted with Think to do that work. There is a lot of other responsibilities as well. I just wanted to connect on Mr. Ayala's question about there's additional fiscal responsibilities and things like that that go into why we contract out as well. And Ms. Walker, with your question in regards to the homework help and the tutoring, so it'll be my responsibility to work collaboratively with Think Together to monitor all of that. In addition to what the state says, there's going to be a lot of accountability from CDE, which there's always been, but it'll just be different. So all the districts that receive these grants are going to be getting their direction from the CDE in terms of those monitoring pieces. And I'll work really closely with Think Together as well with the how the students that they're working with, how many hours they're serving those kids, whether it's homework help or tutoring, whether it's they want to do field trips, virtual field trips, and things of that nature. But I definitely know your point, because in the past it has been more of homework help versus tutoring. And we know that they'll shift as we need them to shift, and they'll have to train their staff in a different manner to be tutors versus just homework helpers. And we do have Miss Joanna Lizarraga on phone, who's the general manager for Think Together, who may be able to add some additional information for you. So Joanna, are you there if you want to add for Ms. Walker's question?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I did want to just add, just as SB 98 gave some flexibility to the school district to, shift some of the work that's happening, SB 98 also gives flexibility to the ACES programs. And yes, you are right, Ms. Walker. In the past, the legislative requirements for the ACES grant require us to go through all the different components, from physical activity to academic enrichment to homework support. And so with SB 98, it's given us the flexibility to actually focus on whatever the district priorities are. So if tutoring is the need, we can actually focus on those pieces, and there isn't a requirement from the state to actually provide the physical activity requirement, since we're obviously not in person. So again, it goes back to working collaboratively with Angela Brantley, so we can provide what is needed specifically and really enhance the work that the district's doing.
Thank you. And then, so for Ms. Brantley, you're going to be responsible for that. And then placing a emphasis on the students actually needing the tutoring, not just opening up a Zoom meeting and saying, okay, don't do your homework while I'm here, but actually providing somebody there to answer questions and support with the tutoring. And I'm saying that because this is an awful lot of money to just have, again, an open Zoom room where kids are working still on their own without support, given the fact that we know that they're going to need 10 times the amount of support that they've needed even when they were in person, right? And this is going to be a great help and support to families who are going to have to ask, who don't have the answers to questions on some of the, probably most of our kids' homework from their classroom. So I just want to ensure that if we're still, moving forward with this, this contract and this working with Think Together, which fine and dandy, but I want to make sure that with this pivot from online to in-person to distance, at this pivot, that they are pivoting with us to provide the support that we need, not the support that they were giving when we were in real person, in real time, human contact.
Absolutely. Understood, Ms. Walker. That'll be my responsibility. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Question?
Go ahead, Mr. Ayala.
Yeah, question for Angela. Angela, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Ayala. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. Good to hear your voice, sir.
Let's just say we come up with an alternative plan in-house that comes up with $2 million, okay? We have to pay for services of our own workers, okay? Now, we would save roughly $1 million. Would we be able to use that in other categories?
No, the way the grant is written, it's fully written for the ACES program, and we couldn't divert it to any other
not from Peter to pay Paul.
Right,
Okay.
right.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, let's take a vote by board members. For me, it's an aye. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
Mr. Montes? Edgar? Mr. Montes?
Aye, I'm sorry, it was on mute.
Okay. The next item is like that. Remember, we had to do a special agreement with Fitzgerald because they were originally not in the original Think Together group. So it says approve the one-year renewal option with Think Together, a nonprofit corporation, for the purpose of providing an after-school expanded learning program at Fitzgerald Elementary School. The term of the contract will be July 16th, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, for a total cost not to exceed $124,000 to be paid from the general fund. Can I have a motion to approve this item?
Question?
Martinez.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Montes, you had a question?
Yeah, is this part of the out-of-pocket after-school expense?
This
Yes,
would
it is.
be the only stuff out of our pocket because the main thing at the other 18 or 18 plus 5 middle schools is covered by the grant.
Right. Well, perhaps the board could entertain maybe not paying for this added expense since we don't know if how things are going to develop, the uncertainty. And since the money's got to be used by the grant with the other schools, we don't know if it's going to be necessarily the best bang for our buck moving forward with these other schools.
Well, the problem is if parents are depending on it when school reopens and then they don't have it, then they're in a hardship.
And if it doesn't reopen?
Pardon me?
And if we don't reopen?
Well, we have to hope we're going to reopen sometime during the next year. I mean, we can't be in distance learning for the whole year. I think everybody's okay.
It's possible it's possible we might have to go distance learning until January of next year.
Well, go ahead.
President Kelly, I just can't understand why we can't add Fitzgerald to the main package, which is the resolution above, and reduce each school accordingly by the amount so that everybody gets an equal share based on the number of students. So that way we wouldn't have to spend that 124 non-refunded out of the general fund. The contract and the services provided by the consultant, by the third-party contractor, doesn't cover this additional school. I think that's why we need to table this until they. Well, we already voted on it, but you can still resolve it, and we need to include this. You know, and I think there needs to be a little flexibility there. This is $124,000 out of the general fund again.
I'm just saying, the thing I'm saying is we don't know. We're uncertain of what's going to happen moving forward. And I don't feel comfortable voting on this item not knowing what the near future looks like. the after-school program for the rest of the schools, gonna have to be distance learning also. It's an after-school distance. It's gonna be starting off as an after-school distance learning after-school program. How is that? How effective is that gonna be as a distance learning program? The kids can't stay at home for distance learning for regular school and then go physically to after school for the after-school program, which means it's gonna have to be online and distance learning style.
Right.
How is that going to look? How is that going to look?
From my understanding, one thing Think Together does is they work with the teachers to find out what is being covered. And if distance learning, it says in the write-up that if distance learning is, if we have to go to distance learning, that they will provide these activities and extra help and whatever online.
How when we went in March, when we went to distance learning, what type of services, how effective was the after-school program for the staff when we went to online, when we transferred into online this previous school year? What did the after-school program do? What did that distance learning program look like, or did it just shut down completely?
Angela, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here, sir. Mr. Montez, and again, in the report on page 14, we talk a little bit about how the last 3 months looked. You're right, it was a surprise to us all. So a big part of what they had to do was work on their staff development, too, for their own staff to transition to a virtual scenario. And then they did do some work with students, reaching out to students. They came on campuses and worked with staff at the end of the year with the transition of picking up the Chromebooks and all those pieces. But you're right, the model that we'll have coming this year is definitely not the model that we ended the year with this past school year. It was a huge transition. But looking at next year, again, it's up to the board with the Fitzgerald model, because they are the only school, and Mr. Ayala, every school has to apply individually, and the grant is issued from the CDE to only that school. So we're not able to take any of those funds and provide it for FITS, but because we know that there were a lot of families who wanted that support and needed that support in the past years, the district and the board approved that LCAP funding to go to FITS. So it'll be up to the board whether they want to include FITS now for this year with this distance learning model, where they would still be able to be provided with the homework help and the tutoring and the virtual field trips and those pieces, or if the board felt like, that's not a good use of the funds. But we definitely couldn't pay for it out of the other grant, and it definitely would be a better improved delivery this fall than it was this spring. Does that make sense, Mr. Martinez? Or excuse me, Mr. Montez.
Montez. Yeah, yes, of course, it does make sense. I think we all got hit. We all got shock factor. We all got hit with a lot of, just a surprise. But I'm just not fully convinced that we should pay for out of the general fund for the program at Fitzgerald, because it's not going to be the traditional. We don't know when the traditional after-school program will actually kick in. If that's in October, November, December, January, the half of the second semester, we don't know when that's going to be, and I would rather see how their after-school program works distance learning-wise with the schools who already secured the grant funding by the state, as opposed to us funding the out of the general fund the school that didn't qualify for the state funding grant, and us paying out of pocket without even seeing how effective it's going to be.
Angela, is there a possibility you could talk with the Think Together people and see if they will modify the charge based on the fact that we're going to be on distance learning for a while, and
Is the charge even the same? Is the charge the same as the the charge exactly is the charge assuming the classes are going to be traditional, or is the charge the same even though they are going to start with distance learning?
Okay, so 2 questions.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same charge that we paid when we had the full program. So that's still the same. And I know Ms. Zaraga is still on the line. One option could be to modify and bring things together back only when we start transitioning kids back into school and offering, an in-person program for that particular site.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so
Ms. Zaraga, are you there? I'm sorry, board. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So do you want to pull this item until later, when we're getting ready to bring kids back to school?
Please.
Yeah. That's well, I don't know how the board wants to go about it, but at least that seems like it'd be a wiser use of the funds at this time.
Right, and the other thing we need to explore is if depending on when we start, if the price can be adjusted accordingly.
Right. And monitor the program as soon as it starts at the regular schools.
Right. So we can either vote it down now and have it brought back at the time, or just pull it until further notice, but also work on some kind of adjustment to the price.
It'd probably be best to table it.
Okay, so let's table item F12 until students are returning to school. Okay?
Or until the other program is evaluated. The resolution above it.
Either way, we're pulling the item.
Yes.
Right.
So moved.
All right, is there a second to pull this item?
Second.
Okay, vote by board members. For me, aye. Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. All right, F13, amend agreement with San Bernardino Community College District for AB 104 California Adult Education Program. Approve an amended agreement with San Bernardino Community College District to qualify as an active member of the California Adult Education Program, CAEP, AB 104, and receive an allotment of $1,239,287 effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So move, Walker.
Is there a second?
Martinez.
Okay. Any
Comment?
discussion?
Yes, Martinez. This is another pass-through grant. It is given to the community college and passed on to us. So as far as I understand, good.
Well, I think it's wonderful. It's always wonderful when we're receiving money.
Yeah, we just got to spend it wisely.
Yeah, but it's for the adult education program, so I'm sure they can put it to good use. Okay. Vote by board members on this item. For me, it's an aye. Ms. Walker? Aye. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay. F14, resolution number 20-21-01, ordering a school bond election and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewith. Says approve resolution number 20-21-01, ordering a $276 million principal amount bond measure under the Proposition 39 parameters be placed on the November 3rd, 2020 ballot for approval. 55% or more of the registered voters within the district boundaries at an estimated cost between $20,000 to $30,000 to place bond measure on the November 3rd, 2020 ballot to be reimbursed if bond passes and is sold, and to be paid from Fund 25 Capital Facilities Fund. Okay, can I have a motion to approve this item?
And Mrs. O'Kelly?
Yeah.
Attorney is here to answer any questions and also to correct a figure that's listed there. So if you can take that into consideration as we go through the voting process during discussion.
Okay, first I need a motion and a second. Motion?
Martinez?
Second? This is the bond that we've been talking about in the past year. It's on page 95 till the end of the agenda. There's several pages on it.
I'm going to second it and discussion, please.
Well, I'm trying to get someone to second it.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, so people, the attorney is here. If you have questions for him regarding this bond measure.
Comments? President O'Kelly?
Yes.
Comments?
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Ayala.
Okay, so yes, it comes out of Fund 25, okay? So it's not coming out of the general fund. That's a good thing. But just to recap for a minute, last time we had a $100 million bond. It cost us about $10, and then we were assessed another fee. I don't remember what that was for, but it went up. In other words, each household was assessed a minimum of $10 for a $100 million bond. We're looking at a $276 million bond. So if I'm doing my math right, just being conservative, we're looking at $20, $25 per household. That's a lot of money at the time when people are out of work. So I'm thinking, do we really want to risk $20,000, $30,000? It's kind of like rolling the dice. I would bet, I'd be willing to bet that this resolution will not pass, not even come close. So why waste that $20,000, $30,000? Bring this resolution back at a time when we have good favor with our community, and then we really have a chance to pass it. Because if they see this come back soon, they're going to think that we're trying to pull something off on them. Those are my comments. Thank you. I didn't want to have any questions. Comments. I don't want to hear it from no lawyer. Just comments.
Would anybody like to ask any questions or make any comments?
Yeah, I just, if I may, Mr. President O'Kelly.
Go ahead.
I too would just like to make a comment in regards to the proposed ballot measure. We all know that our district, our schools need, desperately need, fixing up. We desperately need additional facilities. Some of our middle schools don't have gymnasiums yet. Eisenhower High School, we desperately need to completely renew. The problem is that this pandemic has hit us so unexpectedly that I have to agree with Mr. Ayala. We might just want to hold off for this election this year, because people are really hurting. People are really suffering. I mean, you hear the comments. People will need to get to work. We're choosing the safety and the health of the students over, even though it's costing some of our community members a hardship financially. How can we put another hardship on them at a time like this? I think we just should hold off on the bond. It's just not the right time. And it is because of COVID. It is because of the pandemic. The economy is not strong right now. People are hurting. I don't care what the media says. I don't care who says unemployment is down. I'm basing my comments on what I see in our community. Our schools are packed during lunchtime for those free meals that our communities desperately need. Our families need those meals. Our students need those meals, not because they want to wait in line, because it helps them economically and nutritionally. And I commend again our Nutrition Services Department for all of the angelic work that they're doing, helping us feed our kids, our community. And it just, if you drive through any of elementary schools between 10:15 and 11:30, you'll see how much help our communities appreciate what we're doing for them. And to turn around and stick them with a bill to fix up our schools at a time like this just doesn't seem fair. That's all I have.
Dr. Avila, or to the attorney, is it possible to postpone this for the election in 2 years?
Certainly. This is Michael Ogburn. I'm with California Financial Services. I'm actually not an attorney. Our firm serves as the financial advisor to the district. Yes, this could be postponed. The earliest opportunity you would have to revisit this would be 2022.
Right.
Just a couple of comments. The district just went through 2 community surveys to gauge the community support levels for this bond measure at the $276 million amount. The latest survey was the end of June, so it's in real time. The survey results, the low support level was at 60%. The high support level was at 71%. The required threshold is 55%. So the community does have some support there. Recognizing the comments regarding having an additional tax at this time in these circumstances, should the board put this on the ballot and the voters approve it with this upcoming election on November 3rd, the tax, the levying of the tax could be delayed for as long as to 2025, yet issue bonds in 2021. So there could be a 3-year lag period. The district could also decide not to issue bonds in 2021 and wait till the economic environment was such that you felt more comfortable in going forward with actually issuing the bonds. So the decision before you is whether or not to ask the voters in this election to approve this authorization, with the board having those flexibilities should the voters say yes.
Well, it sounds like the support is there, and I like the idea that even if you approve it, we can receive the bond money and get started on our projects, but the taxes won't kick in for till 2025. Did I understand that correctly?
That is correct, a 3-year delay.
Yeah, just remember that a survey is just a gauge at a concrete for sure yes or no. It's one thing to get a phone call and have a surveyor ask you if you think the school should be rebuilt, and you say, yes, I do. And another thing is to put it on the ballot and have people vote on the increase on taxes. With the whole Prop 13 propaganda going up in flames, it's just going to be really hard right now during these tough economic times to convince people to approve bonds.
What is anticipated if this bond passed this year that the tax increase will amount to per $100,000 of home value?
The maximum that's provided with under this type of bond proposition would be $60 per 100,000 of assessed value of a home's taxing level. The amount could be less than that depending on what the board wanted to actually issue. An example would be issuing $80 million of the $276 million right out of the gate would be a higher tax rate than issuing 20 or 30 million. So the tax rate could be adjusted to levels the board is comfortable with, keeping in mind that the lower the tax level, you're going to be issuing bonds at a lower amount over a period of time.
Question and comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Martinez.
The question is for the community actually to understand how much have we already spent gathering the data on the survey, and secondly, money is cheap right now. We have no way of knowing whether it's going to go up or when it's going to go up. So those are the only two concerns I have right today. Answer, please.
Well, the support levels within the survey are there within the community for your bond. The flexibility, once again, that the board has is when to issue bonds, how much, and how long they want to delay imposing any kind of additional tax. Starting projects immediately, should the voters approve it, the tax could be delayed to 2025. That period could be delayed further if the economic circumstances were such that the board felt uncomfortable. You could delay the issuance of any bonds for any period of time that you want. The approval by the voters, the authorization stays in place for perpetuity until you issue all the bonds.
And Mohammed, how much has been spent on this project?
I can answer that as well. To date in the planning process, the total amount would approximate a little bit over $100,000 to get to this point. It's not really money under the bridge. A good part of that has been identifying your needs and preparing the data to support those needs. The survey part of that is approximately $70,000 under contracts that the board approved previously as part of the planning process, that being funded out of your Fund 35. To go forward from this point on, the only additional cost is the direct election cost to place it on the ballot. A presidential election has the effect of being a lower cost election simply because the total election costs are divided by the county to all of the candidates and the propositions that are placed and bond measures that are placed on a ballot. In a presidential year, that total amount is greater than off years. The 2022 would be a gubernatorial primary, which would be your next opportunity. The direct cost of the election would likely be a little bit more simply because there'd be less on the ballot.
We would also have a survey.
The last bond was passed in 2010, which was a mid-year election.
No,
a midterm election.
Mr. Montez, this is Mohammed. The last election, $98 million bond, it was November 2nd, 2010.
Right, it was midterm election.
November is not a midterm. Again, it is November.
Here, the month is always the same. It's either a presidential election or a midterm election.
Okay.
Right.
The board, if you allow me to make one comment, again, as you heard from Mr. Ogburn, there's no tax until we sell the bond. Even the bond pass, if the board decide that no, we're not selling bond until 2025, the homeowner and the community will not see any increase on the property tax. That is the flexibility you have as a board. You decide when, how much. So
we heard that. We heard that. That's if we decide to run the bond election this year, and that's if it passes. We also have the option of waiting until the midterm election in 2022 to put this on the election and pass it then.
The problem is money might be a lot more expensive by then.
Not only that,
money might also more readily be available by then.
Contractors are probably out of work right now and needing the money in the business. Might be cheaper to build now.
The board, one thing I'd like to comment also, the value of the size of the bond is depend on the assessed value of the property. As you know, over the years, our property value has gone up. Every community, Rialto is no different. We had an increase of how much, Michael? The property value over the
From last year?
Yes,
7%.
So if the economy goes down and the property value goes down, we're back to the drawing board. At that point, we don't know how much we can authorize for issue the bond. So there's a negative impact, depends on how economy is going to drive.
And interesting.
Either way, we'd have to resurvey if we wish to do it at a later time.
The question is.
No, the financial advisor said we can wait till 2022 to bring this back. It doesn't change anything to hold off this time around and bring it back in 2022. Remember, people are on unemployment and disability. Some of them are not eligible for that. Sometimes we got to know when to cut and run. Right now seems like a very good time. I don't see the economy booming and people being their happiest right now.
Well, do you want to table this item, or should we take a vote and see where everybody stands?
Let's table it.
Okay.
Can we table it and
can we table it and
We're supposed to vote.
Wait a minute, too many people are talking. Who has
the question? Just a question. Can we table this item tonight and possibly bring it back at a future board meeting with some more information and input before bringing it back?
Well, no, I'm sure if it has to be on the November 3rd election, they've got to have it on the ballot. We've got to make a decision very soon.
The statutory deadlines to be on the November 3rd ballot would require the district board to approve the resolution and deliver the final packet to the county on or before August 7th of this year.
So we've got at least until the next board meeting.
Time sensitive.
Right, it is time sensitive. We don't have another board meeting except the emergency meeting we're having on Friday.
Well, let's just vote on it then. Vote to
okay.
One thing I should point out, this would be a bond measure under the Proposition 39 parameters. That requires a supermajority of the board for approval. With a 5-member board, the voting requirement for approval is not 3-2, it's 4-1 or 5-0.
Okay.
In that case, maybe we should table this.
Yeah, but when do we bring it back? Table it for 2 years?
Next board meeting.
Friday?
So our next,
we won't be able to get it on the November ballot.
But the reality is,
it has to be in by August the 7th.
That would be a slap in the face for our voters, our citizens. Just like Mr. Montez said, you can't do that to them.
That's
not going to vote. Not going to pass.
Well, Ms. Walker, do you have any?
Really, it'll pass.
I'm not, no, I was going to say, we're going to be required a supermajority. I'm just letting you know, I am not going to be in favor. I stand with board member Ayala and Montez around the condition and what our, communities are in now. And just to be asked again, and we already have another proposition around some other funding come on that they need to vote on as well, I wouldn't be voting in favor.
Then let's move it forward either way and shoot it down instead of just going round and round.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Let's take a vote by board members. And with me, it's probably a no also because I just don't know how that's going to happen. But Ms. Walker is a no?
No.
Or nay? Mr. Martinez?
I would go yes because of the survey.
Mr. Ayala?
Nay.
Mr. Montez?
No, and just hope that maybe 2022 is a better time to bring it back.
Okay. Let's move on to item F15. The Rialto Unified School District Board of Education votes for the following delegate to the California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly. We have 2 candidates. One is Henry Cowles from Cucamonga School District, and the other is Barbara Flores, who most of us know Barbara very well, and she's from the San Bernardino City Unified School District.
I move to approve Barbara Flores as our candidate forward for the delegate assembly.
Second, Martina.
Okay. And individual vote by board members for Barbara Flores. Mine is an aye. Ms. Walker?
Walker, aye.
Mr. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Ayala,
Aye.
and Mr. Montes.
Aye.
Okay. And now, adjournment. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Rialto Unified School District will be held on August 12, 2020 at 7 o'clock p.m. telephonically and via streamlined audio only. Materials distributed or presented to the Board of Education at the board meeting are available upon request from the superintendent's office. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
We have a
Wait. Motion to adjourn?
board meeting on Friday at 3 o'clock.
Right, I was going to say that in a minute. I'm trying to get through this. All right, motion to...
One question. Nancy, one question.
What?
One question, please. Dr. Avila, are you there?
I am.
Do you know how many meals our district has served to date? Grab-and-go meals?
No, I don't as of today. I don't have the number. I last had an update several weeks ago.
What was the last update? Is there anybody there that might be able to answer how many meals to date was the last time we got count? Grab-and-go meals have been served?
I'm being told 1.5 million.
Wow.
That sounds about right. Based on what I've seen.
Thank you, Dr. Avila, all of your team and all of the schools and all of the staff that are making that possible.
Right.
Can I ask one more question for Dr. Avila and Ms. Brantley?
I guess.
Just
I haven't gotten a motion.
Oh, right, to adjourn, right. So, in reference to the Think Together support for Fitzgerald, if you can do research to find out with the new revised guidelines on that, could Fitzgerald be included in those numbers in that grant? That's what you got to ask the CDE. And then if not, work with things together to provide a revised even starting so that the support will start even virtually, but a revised proposal based on just distance.
Yes,
not necessarily the full year, if they can do that. So first to contact the CDE to see if we can include it in that number now because of COVID, and then go from the other piece.
No problem. We'll look into that first thing in the morning.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move, Nancy.
So move.
And a second?
Walker second.
And before we go
Vote by board members.
Ms. O'Kelly.
Ms. Walker?
Dr. Avila is trying to say something, so discussion.
Gosh, I gotta get through this vote.
I'm sorry, Mrs. O'Kelly, but I just wanted to wish Mr. Ayala a happy birthday, which he'll celebrate on July the 24th, which is next Friday. So happy birthday, Mr. Ayala.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. Ayala.
Happy birthday. Thanks to everybody on the board. Much appreciated.
Okay. Am I still taking votes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Ayala?
Aye.
And Mr. Montes?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourning this meeting of the Board of Education at, I can't read it, 9:48 p.m.